Hi, it's Mike once again, back with tip number 38 from our top 100 tips, tools, and life lessons from the Insight One Awakening Heart Seminar. Again, we're going to continue with the heart chart here. We spent some time looking at what happens when we go up into more of the kind of mental space and get in a bit of a limiting space kind of mentally. What we'd like to do is look at what happens for some of us. We might go more down into the emotional space. Nothing wrong with emotions, nothing wrong with mental. It's just when we get into those spaces in a limiting way and we move out of our heart, we tend to be less effective. What happens when we get emotionally flooded? We sometimes say when that happens, we're not willing to know. When we're up in the mental space, we said, I think I already know. In the emotional space, I'm not willing to know. And those of you that can tend to kind of go into that space will recognize when you go there, it's almost like you can't access your thinking. You can't access your logic. You might go into a level of overwhelm. You might go into a level of self-doubt. Maybe you experience some guilt down there. So there's a number of different feelings that we can get lost in down in the emotional space. This kind of links back in some ways to our heavies and payoffs. Sometimes we'll go down there, and what's interesting is to notice is that what choice did we make that had us go down there? Because oftentimes we can think of ourselves getting emotional, getting upset, and associating that with something outside of us, instead of noticing a pattern that tends to take us down into our emotions in a limiting way. So again, don't hear me like we're saying that there's anything wrong with the emotions, just like there's nothing wrong with the mind. It's just that when we move out of balance there and get emotionally flooded and move into things like self-doubt, overwhelm, guilt, that we can lose our access to our reasoning, our rational mind, and the kinds of things that help us to choose. That's why one of the aspects in terms of moving back out of the emotional space is referencing that we do have a choice, that we don't have to necessarily be lost in our emotions in a way that keeps us disconnected from our heart and less effective. Again, I want to say thank you for listening. Check out what's happening at Insight Boston at insightboston.org. Check out what's happening globally at insightseminars.org. And certainly check out what's happening in your local Insight community. Have a great day.